This is Buffalo State Data Talk, the podcast where we introduce you to how data is used and explore careers that involve data. In today's episode, we talk to John O'Hara, a marketing, analytics, and insight manager at the Walt Disney Company. John received a master's degree from the Professional, Applied, and Computational Mathematics program at Buffalo State, which launched his analytics career, leading to his current position. John will share advice for building your network and getting into the field of data analytics. Keep listening to hear from John what it's like working for the Walt Disney Company. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Buffalo State Data Talk. I'm your host, Heather Campbell, and we appreciate you joining us for episode 7. Today, we'll be talking to John O'Hara, a marketing, analytics, and insight manager at the Walt Disney Company. Thanks for joining us today, John.
Thank you very much for having me, Heather.
So I'm sure everyone has heard of the Walt Disney Company, of course, but there's lots of different divisions that Disney has: parks, animation, broadcasting. So what area of the company do you work for, and what kind of work does this segment of the company do?
So currently I'm down here in Orlando, Florida, and I work for Disney Parks, Experiences, and Consumer Products. And specifically, my department is called the Consumer Insights and Measurement Analytics Department. And within that organization, I work on a marketing analytics team. It's a very large company, but that's where I'm currently sitting.
So as the marketing analyst and insight manager, what are your main job responsibilities?
Sure. So our team does a lot of media measurement reporting, looking at marketing effectiveness, testing. But specifically, my team is most focused on media mix modeling and scenario planning for our businesses. So what media mix modeling is we're looking at how each of our business segments should be purchasing media, whether it be TV or Facebook or Instagram ads or radio or podcast ads, and making a recommendation of how much money they should put into each of those channels in order to drive whatever their KPIs are. That's their performance indicators, whether it be park attendance or cruise line bookings, things of that nature. So that's like the main function of my team is media mix modeling.
So do you have a background in marketing at all, or are you more on the analytics side?
So no, I'm more on the analytics side. I started my career working as an actuary and then had an opportunity to jump to Disney and do some digital forecasting work for ESPN and ABC. From there, I got involved with advertising sales optimization with ESPN and ABC, and then had an opportunity to jump into the parks world. And my team kind of sits between the business side of things and the science side of things. And we're really the data crunchers and the storytellers between those two departments.
So could you tell me what a typical day or a typical week looks like for you?
Sure. So it's a lot different now with the pandemic ongoing. But
of course,
in terms of my typical workday, it's really a mix of meetings, individual time to focus on my projects, and then collaborating with other teams on group projects. And it's really kind of a mix of those different things. But each day just brings on new challenges and adventures.
So you mentioned you work with a team. Do you spend most of the time working with those people, or do you spend a lot of time working independently?
So it depends on the project, but for the most part, I work a lot with my marketing analytics team, but also we bridge across different departments. So we're working with our advanced analytics team that does a lot of our data integration work and our really the highly sophisticated modeling. And then our team is building stories and sharing those with our marketing strategy partners, our customer engagement partners that are actually going to take our recommendations and apply them out into the advertising landscape for Disney.
So the other members of your team, do they have analytics background, marketing background, mix of both?
It just depends. It's quite a wide array of people in a diverse group. You have industrial engineers in there. You have people with math and statistics backgrounds. That's my degree is in mathematics, in addition to the applied math degree that I received at Buff State. There's also people that are marketing or MBAs, and it's just a very wide mix of people.
So I'm going to switch it up a little bit and ask, are you still able to set aside time for personal development? And if so, what kinds of activities do you do?
Sure. So I'm a strong believer in continuing to always keep learning and developing your skills. And I'll do a lot of on the side trainings, like using Coursera. So I've been taking a lot of like Python trainings. And actually, this week, Wednesday, I'll be sitting in a Tableau conference that's specific for Disney employees. And also, I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of different analytics conferences around the country. Disney has also provided the opportunity for leadership trainings that I've found very valuable. And then more on the personal side, Disney's been a great organization to do things with my teammates to just kind of build those interpersonal relationships, like sports leagues or something that's called canoe racing around the world, where we actually go to Magic Kingdom at 6 a.m. and race around the rivers of America. So it's there's a really unique organization to work for.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun team to work with. So you mentioned that you go to conferences sometime, and I know that a lot of time at conferences there's happy hours or times for networking. Do you have any tips for how students can build their network and get connections in their industry?
Definitely. So I would say to don't be afraid to reach out to anyone, no matter how high up in an organization they might be. Everyone started from somewhere. So everyone has gone through their own career journey, and you can take learnings from anyone, no matter what their level is. But at the same time, I will say, have a purpose. Don't waste their time. If you want to start a conversation, make sure that there's a question that you want to ask or a goal that you want to achieve. And I'd also recommend to something that I've been participating in over the last few years at Disney is mentorship programs. So I have a mentor, and that's a few steps in front of me in their career. And I'm also speaking to more junior analysts and helping them get to the place that I am in my career.
That's awesome that they have that program. I think that it's really helpful to have somebody who can kind of guide you through and give you advice the entire time through your career. So, obviously, we're in a pandemic right now, and in person networking events don't really exist. So, most of the networking right now is being done online. So, do you use LinkedIn or any other online networking? And how do you use them effectively? And do you have any suggestions for building digital relationships?
Sure. So I do use LinkedIn. For myself, I'm typically just looking to see what types of projects other organizations might be working on that I might find interesting, and how I might be able to take a learning from that and involve it into my current department and my work. In terms of networking, it's also been good to keep in touch with people that I've met along the way through my career, meeting people at different conferences and where they've gone and branched out to really around the country. And also, LinkedIn has been a great place to just keep an ear and an eye open for opportunities for advancement, because you never know when you might find a opportunity that you might be passionate about and just want to throw your name in the ring for.
That sounds like excellent advice. So, it sounds like you work on lots of different topics, lots of different areas. What would you say is your favorite part of your job?
So, my favorite part of my current role is definitely being able to directly impact our business and being part of a team that has a well respected opinion around different parts of the Walt Disney Company, and really seeing the results of our hard work and our analysis go and have a like concrete example out there in the marketplace for it. Working for a company that their primary focus is making magic for their guests. And yes, different projects might be looking at trying to increase revenues or cut costs, but the primary objective is always going to be guest satisfaction and making sure that that experience lives on for future generations.
So, I asked you what your favorite part of your job was. So, I'm going to now ask the opposite. Can you tell us about something that was really challenging part of your work and how you have overcome it?
Sure. So when I first came to Disney, I just was kind of caught off guard with how much data there is here that's been collected and how to clean it, how to make sense of it. It's really, really you have to be able to learn how to build time into your projects and create a runway, because inevitably the data is never clean. You're gonna hit these roadblocks. You're gonna have a partner that doesn't provide their part of the project on time, and you're gonna need to learn how to build a timeline that accounts for all of these things. So that was really an adjustment coming from a few smaller companies into a company as big as Disney.
So it sounds like time management, project management are some skills that you think is really important to be successful.
Definitely. You need to be able to prioritize and be able to um, really make sure that you're able to deliver what you promise to your clients or your partners, and be that like source of reliability for them.
So I know you already mentioned a little bit of your background and how you ended up where you are. But could you tell us a little bit more about your education? You received a degree from Buffalo State in the applied and computational mathematics. So why did you choose to get that degree and how has it affected your career path?
Sure. So I finished my undergrad from University of Buffalo, also in applied mathematics, and wanted to pursue a higher education, and saw that Buff State had this program of applied and computational mathematics. It was really a program that not just focused on the education, but how you would apply this in the workplace and how you would apply uh, mathematical skills in industry, no matter what industry it was. And thought that that would be something very valuable for me. So I decided to pursue that opportunity. I'm very glad I did, because right from the time that I was in that program, doors started to open for me. I moved from a healthcare data analyst to an actuarial analyst with a different company while I was in that program. And then after graduating, uh, I just started applying to what I thought were dream jobs. I was really interested in sports analytics. So I was applying for jobs with different baseball teams and football teams, and ended up getting this digital forecasting role for ESPN, working for Disney down in Florida. And that's kind of been a launch pad for my career to this point.
What made you interested in working in data analytics?
So from the time I was a little kid, I was always, the way I think has always been about numbers. Everything had a certain order, a way of being solved, and math always came easily to me. And for many people, that's not the case. It's they can figure out math, but it's not necessarily a natural thing for them. So I decided that I was going to take one of my stronger skill sets and just see where I could take that in terms of a career. And the program at Buff State really helped me kind of focus in and learn what careers were out there and what was a possibility for that.
I know that a lot of people don't actually really know what you can do with a degree in math. So could you mention maybe a couple of the different jobs that you had? I know you said you were an actuary for a while, but maybe some of the different positions that you learned about and that you've applied for and that you thought about doing. Because I know that sometimes people think of math and they're like, okay, well, what do you do with math? You teach math, and they don't think of anything else. So what other careers are out there?
So I'll just speak to within Disney and different departments that I know of people that have a strong math background and where they're working at. Um, there's people that are they're the data scientists. They're doing very advanced modeling, looking at machine learning and augmented reality. And then there's the other side that's more of like product development. So there's data integration analysts. There's um, analysts that are building user interfaces for tools. There's people that are uh, crunching data and trying to develop a analytical recommendation through these tools. Then there's people that are looking at consumer insights. So people that are focused on evaluating what characters resonate with people, what rides are most popular among our guests, what food people might want to be eating. Then there's a whole myriad of people that work in finance and accounting, and really, every organization, every company has mathematical needs, analytical needs, and it just depends on the niche that interests you and how you want to apply yourself.
It sounds like there's lots of different jobs that can use people with a math background.
Definitely.
So students often wonder what skills or education they need to join a certain career path. So you mentioned a couple of skills before, but could you tell me what you think are the most important hard and soft skills when working as a data analyst?
So some of the soft skills that I think that would be valuable for someone that's interested in working in as a data analyst would be to be able to strategically think, be able to break down a problem and come out with a creative solution. Also, um, in terms of when you're actually in the field and working, you really want to be able to know your audience and tell a clear and concise story that is geared towards their objectives or to their background or their experience, and definitely have an opinion and be able to justify it or guide others towards it. And from a hard skills aspect, you always want to keep learning. So technology continues to evolve. So from the time that I entered the workplace, I was just starting to code in SQL and different Microsoft products. And that developed into coding in SAS because that was really the leader in statistical analysis. And now things are moving at Disney to open source languages like Python and R. And those are things that I'm continuing to try to learn as I go along in my career.
So I know that you can't predict the future, but what would you guess would be the most important technologies or skills that would be good to know for a future in data science or data analytics?
I think that you definitely need to be able to code. It's something that, although it's not always interesting, it's the way that we're able to crunch big data and provide a recommendation, whether it just be through an analysis or developing a model or developing a product. Um, and you have to be able to be agile in coding as well. So languages change, software changes that a company might want to use. So that's definitely a foundational skill that started in my time at UB and Buff State that I brought with me and continue to need to learn. And you don't need to be a subject matter expert because there's always opportunities for learning and development. But you need, I like to say that you need to know enough to be dangerous.
I like the way you put that. So many of our listeners are younger. So, as somebody who has been in your career for a few years, who you mentioned before has mentored new employees, what advice would you give for somebody who's interested in working as a data analyst or who has just entered the field?
So, as I mentioned before, every industry, no matter what it is, has a varying degree of analytical needs. And so, I'd say to just be open minded. Um, don't necessarily shut off an opportunity that doesn't sound interesting to you. Explore it. See why they might see you as a fit for that role. Also, always keep learning. Don't be complacent and continue to don't think just because you've graduated that you're at the end. You want to just continue to build yourself and learn as you go and share those experiences with others and learn from other people's experiences.
So, what is something that you wish somebody had told you before you started your first professional position, or maybe before you started the position you have now?
So I would say to not be afraid to lean on the expertise or the experience of others. and that you don't need to know how to do everything on your own, and that most people are happy to help you develop in any way they can, whether that be your career itself or a specific skill. So no one's out to get you. They all just want the team as a whole to succeed. So rely on people and don't be afraid of that.
So don't necessarily feel like you have to prove yourself by going it alone.
Definitely not. And if you're really interested in a job, you just see that one bullet point that might not fit with your experience, don't exclude yourself. Don't be afraid of that opportunity. If you feel like it's right, let them be the ones to make that judgment.
I like the way you said that. I definitely think that if you think you're a good fit, let them decide that you're not the one. Don't exclude yourself before you've even given it a chance.
If you don't take that chance, you're already at a no. So it's at least worth having that conversation and pursuing the opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great way of thinking about it. So my last question before we let you go is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know that we didn't get a chance to cover today?
Keep dreaming, keep learning, and find somewhere that you're passionate about to work for, and just continue striving for bigger and better things.
Excellent. John, thank you so much for joining us today. And to all of our listeners, if you haven't already, check out our previous podcasts. They're available wherever you listen to podcasts. For more information about starting your career as a data scientist, go to dataanalytics.buffalostate.edu. And don't forget to subscribe so that you get a notification each time we release a new episode of Buffalo State Data Talk.